Hi friends, so are you ready to ace your upcoming job interview? It's important to be prepared to respond effectively to the questions that employers typically ask at interview. Since these job interview questions are so common, hiring managers will expect you to be able to answer them smoothly and without hesitations. You don't need to memorize all of your answers, but do think about what you are going to say. So you are not put on the spot during the job interview. So your responses will be stronger if you prepare in advance, know what to expect during the interview, and have a sense of what you want to focus on during your interview. Even if you are not able to recall the specifics of the answers you plan, simply knowing that you prepared will boost your confidence during the interview and help you feel more at ease. So my name is Syed Mahmood Hussaini, and today I am going to teach you how to best answer the HR interview questions. The first question is, tell me about yourself. So this is one of the first questions you are likely to be asked. Be prepared to talk about yourself and why you are an excellent fit for the job. Try to answer questions about yourself without giving out too much or too little personal information. So you can start by sharing some of your personal interests and experiences that don't relate directly to work, such as a favorite hobby or a brief account of where you grew up, your education, and what motivates you. Okay, friends? If it feels daunting to generate this information from scratch, you can rely on a simple formula to construct your answer. I will give you the secret. The present, past, future. Remember this one. Present, past, future formula is a way to share key background points while ending on a high note. So begin with a brief overview of where you are now, which could include your current job along with a reference to a personal hobby or passion. Reference how you got to where you are. Here, you could mention education or an important experience such as a past job, internship, or volunteer experience. And then finish by touching on a goal for the future. Bonus points if you are able to identify how the position you are applying for aligns with how you envision your future. Okay, friends? So remember to be careful about what you include in your answer. Avoid potentially contentious subjects such as political or religious leanings unless you are absolutely positive that your opinions would be well received by your interview. You should also avoid talking too much about family responsibilities or hobbies that might make your interviewer wonder whether you could commit yourself 100% to the job. Okay, friends? Next, no matter how you choose to respond, write out your answer in advance and then read it aloud. Prepare yourself to ensure it sounds natural. Don't rehearse, I told you. Try to keep it short and sweet, as you don't want to come across as the type of person who endlessly drones on about themselves. The second question is, what is your greatest strength? How you would answer this question? So this is one of the questions that employers almost ask you, always. When you are asked about your greatest strengths, it is important to discuss the attributes that will qualify you for the specific job and set you apart from the other candidates. So take the time before the job interview to make matches between your qualifications and the requirements as stated in the job announcement. This way, you will have examples ready to hand that will demonstrate your suitability for the job. So it can be helpful to remember the tip to show rather than tell. For example, so rather than stating that you are an excellent problem solver, instead tell a story that demonstrates this. Ideally drawing on anecdote from your professional experience. So it can be helpful to remember the tip to show rather than tell. For example, so rather than stating that you are an excellent problem solver and repeating this one, instead tell a story that demonstrates this. Okay friends, hope you got it. So that means an anecdote from your professional experience. Third one is, what is your great weakness? So another typical questions interviewers will ask is about your weaknesses. So do your best to frame your answers around positive aspects of your skills and abilities as an employee, turning seeming weaknesses into strengths. For example, you might say something like, I have always struggled with perfectionism, so I truly want to do the job correctly the first time, but this sometimes means that I devote more time to a project than is necessary. I have learned to balance this drive with the equally important responsibility of meeting deadlines. You can also share examples of skills you have improved, providing specific instances of how you have recognized a weakness and taken steps to improve yourself. Fourth question, why should we hire you? Why should we hire you? So are you the best candidate for the job? So be prepared to say why you are the applicant who should be hired. This is not the time to be modest, although neither should you be conceited. So make your response a confident, concise, focused sales pitch that explains what you have to offer the employer and why you should get the job. This is another good time to review the qualifications and the requirements in the job listing. So you can craft a response that aligns with what the interviewer is looking for. Fifth one, what are your salary expectations? So what are you looking for in terms of salary? It seems like a simple question, but your answer can knock you out of the contest for the job if you overprice yourself. If you underprice yourself, you may get short change and a lower offer. So review the best way to answer questions about salary so you get the fair pay that you deserve. Sixth one is, why are you leaving or have left your job? So when asked about why you are moving on from your current position, so stick with the facts, be direct, and focus your interview answer on the future, especially if your leaving was not in the best of circumstances. Always try to put a positive slant on your response. It is better to give the impression that you are more motivated by the possibility of new opportunities than by trying to escape a bad situation. In addition, it is important to avoid bashing your current organization, colleagues or supervisor. An employer is not likely to want to bring on someone who talks negatively about a company. Remember this one. So don't talk negatively about your previous employer. Seventh one is, why do you want this job? This question gives you an opportunity to show the interviewer what you know about the job and the company. So take the time before the interview to thoroughly research the company, its products or services, its climate and its mission. Be specific about what makes you a good fit for this role and mention aspects of the company and position that appeal to you. Okay friends? Eighth one is, how do you handle stress and pressure? So what do you do when things don't go smoothly at work? How do you deal with difficult situations? What do you do when something goes wrong? The best way to respond to this question is to give an example of how you have successfully handled stress in a previous job. So avoid claiming that you never or rarely experience stress. Not only is this difficult to believe, but it could also lead the interviewer to conclude that you have only worked in low pressure environments and therefore are not equipped to handle a difficult situation. Rather, formulate your answer in a way that acknowledges workplace stress and explains how you have overcome it or even used it to your advantage. Now, the ninth question is, describe a difficult work situation or project and how you overcame it. So the interviewer wants to know what you do when you face a difficult decision. As with the question about stress, be prepared to share an example of what you did in a tough situation. Okay, friends? It is important to share details around this example in order to make the story believable and engaging. That being said, avoid talking negatively or extensively about other people. This can detract from what the interviewer really wants to know about, which is how you perform in a challenging situation. The 10th one is, the last one, what are your goals for the future? This question is designed to find out if you are going to stick around or move on as soon as you find a better opportunity. So keep your answer focused on the job and the company you are interviewing with, and reiterate to the interviewer that the position aligns with your long-term goals. Finally, they will ask you, at the close of the interview, do you have any questions? At the close of the interview, most interviewers ask whether you have any questions about the job or company. So if you don't have any questions, this can make it seems like you are apathetic about the opportunity. So it's always a good idea to have a list ready and be prepared to respond. Okay, friends? Hope these tips and best answers to the hiring manager's questions will be very helpful for you. So this brings me to the end of this session. Finally, if you have learned something from this video, then please like it, share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel, Trendz Nova, to stay tuned and connected. This way, you aren't gonna miss my new lesson. See you soon with some valuable lessons. Till then, you take care.